First time since 1993. The Bucks for the first time since 1974. With Giannis's health still up in the air, Phoenix the healthy favorites to win at Caesars William Hill. By the way, the spread for Game 1 in Phoenix, the Suns 5.5-point favorites.
Tim Legler joining us again. And Legs, I'm just going to keep it straight and simple here. You got the Bucks, Suns. Who is your winner for the NBA Finals?
I'm going with Phoenix. I think, look, this is obviously a tough call because of the talent that the Milwaukee Bucks have if Giannis is healthy. But I just think that Phoenix has a star backcourt. It's a backcourt-driven league. You've got two guys that can beat you as scorers or playmakers. I also love the fact that they've got great role definition. Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, those are guys that are going to be important defensively, and they're also going to be big-time three-point shooters in this series. And then a big emerging big man in DeAndre Ayton. I think his emergence throughout the postseason gives me a lot of reason to believe that the Phoenix Suns could hold their own on the glass and hold their own at points in the paint. So it just feels like their year. It just seems like everything's coming together for the Suns. They've been the most consistent team throughout the postseason, and I think they win the series.
This girl born and raised in Phoenix, very happy to hear that. Legs, you mentioned DeAndre Ayton, and I loved how much he has grown and given credit to Chris Paul being the leader of this team and really helping his game come to life. But there is some concern that this Suns team may be too small to guard Giannis. What do you think about that notion?
Yeah, look, it's not necessarily DeAndre Ayton. That's a big guy. But when you look at the other lineups they played, they have four perimeter players on the floor a lot. And even when they go to a backup center, it's Saric, who's not very big. And the reason that's important against a guy like Giannis, when he comes up the floor and he gets into those gaps and those seams, when you don't have a lot of length or size or guys that have a lot of physical brawn, it can be a problem. And Giannis can be living at the lane and gut you inside the restricted area. If that's the case, and he has his way, and the Suns don't find a way to put five in the lane or potentially even play more zone than they're accustomed to, it could be a long series for them because Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to tear you apart if you're not prepared. So that, to me, is the key. I want to see how the Suns defend him early, and I'll feel more confident in my pick if the Suns have a game plan for that.
And that begins on Tuesday on ABC. I have a shirt that says Suns in 4, but don't worry, I won't wear that to work. Tim Legler, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Suns in 4.
And a big reason why this man, Chris Middleton, is new on SportsCenter.
Just keep playing. Sometimes it's going to go your way, sometimes it's not. But as long as I stay the course, that's all I can be in control of. Right? I can't control the ball go in, some turnovers I can't control, some of them I can't. But just stay with it. Just play my game and don't worry about too much else. It's been a long journey, but it's been a great journey. It's been worth it. We put ourselves in position to win the NBA Finals. After winning 15 games in our first year here, to some years not making the playoffs, to 3 years, the last 2 years thinking we had a chance and we just didn't do enough. And now we're here. This is what we worked for, and we're just, I'm, extremely happy that, we're still playing. I definitely wish, he was out there with us, but, he's still here with us. I mean, like, on the bench cheering us on, talking to us during the game, he's still a part of it, whether he's playing or not. Hopefully we get him back out there soon, but, I think, he still appreciates it all. I'm sure he thinks or wishes he was out there playing, but it still means everything to him, the same amount that, we still, got a chance to play for an NBA Final.
We now welcome in our NBA analyst, Tim Legler, and let's talk about that man right there that just spoke. Chris Middleton, 32 total points in the Bucks win. But that third quarter was something else, Legler. I know you were just as impressed as I think the rest of Twitter, everyone just going wild. How was he able to capitalize on all of those opportunities coming out of halftime?
Yeah, I'm not surprised anymore by what I see out of Chris Middleton, Ashley. This is a guy that has had these kind of outbursts now for the last couple of postseasons at critical moments. He's elevated himself to a star scorer in this league, and he sensed coming out of that locker room to start the third quarter, this is what it was going to take. He had to take over the game. And once a shooter gets a first two to go down or so in a quarter, now you're going to start hunting shots, and that's exactly what he did. And his three-point shot is really what triggered all of this. At 6'8", he can get it off whenever he wants to. I think he got into a comfort zone because Atlanta, for the most part, was playing him single coverage, and the guys that were guarding him, he could go up and over the top of. So he knew he was the most accomplished offensive player in this game because you don't have Giannis, and Trae Young was limited. He was a shell of himself and what we normally see out of him. So Chris Middleton, by far, was the most proven offensive commodity in this game, and it was a matter of time before he found his rhythm. And once he did, he put the Atlanta Hawks to bed really by himself in that third quarter. That's when they got the big separation, and then they just held on. A rally led by Cam Reddish in the fourth quarter just wasn't enough because of the lead they built up when Chris Middleton went on that run.
You talked about Trae Young there, being a shell of himself. Obviously suffered that freak injury, stepping on an official's foot and rolling his ankle. Just so disappointing to see Trae after being such a superstar in these playoffs. Coming to this point, what did you see from him tonight in this game?
Yeah, first, I just feel sick for him. For the year he had, the postseason, he had to have a fluke injury basically end his season because he tried to play tonight, and I know what his thinking was. I don't want to be sitting on the bench in street clothes and my team's season could potentially end. So he wanted to go out there and give it a shot. But you could tell right away he just didn't have the ability to separate or lift on the deep shot. And that's really a big part of his game. It sets up so many things for him. You know, much like a Steph Curry or a Damian Lillard, you've got to guard Trae Young at certain places on the floor that most guys, you wouldn't even consider it. And it sets up his ability to drive, get into the lane, finish floaters, lob plays, things like that. But it's predicated on being a threat for the three-point line. And I just saw a guy very reluctant to pull the trigger on the deep shot. He would go into his move, he'd get the separation, and you're thinking he's going to shoot it, and then he would just pick the ball up and pass it because in his mind, he wasn't separating enough, he wasn't getting enough pushback from the defender, and he knew he didn't have enough lift off the ground to get it over bigger guys, and that's really what dictated his night. It was a shame because it was obvious. Number one, he was in pain, but more importantly, he knew he was limited, and he became a very one-dimensional player because the perimeter was completely taken away from him by that right foot. And so you feel bad. I understand why he wanted to give it a try and the effort he put into it. But a guy that important, Ashley, it's got the ball that much, that's that limited, it's almost impossible for your offense to operate efficiently.
Certainly. I mean, this Hawks team overcame so much middle of the season. To get where they were was just an unbelievable thing that they did. And for Trae to suffer the way he did at the very end, too bad, but definitely looking forward to seeing him and the way he improves these next few years. Tim, stick around with us because we're going to get a preview of these NBA Finals, the Suns versus the Bucks, coming up pretty soon. Thanks so much.
Anytime 3 weeks, Sports Center, the Bucks point guard.
I don't know. This is the first time I've been in this position. Man, I've been so blessed over the last couple of years with everything going on to be able to land in a spot like this to fulfill my dream. So God's blessed me and put me in the position just to go to the finals. So I'm still trying to let it. I mean, it's still sinking in, and I'm trying to come down. But it's I don't know, man. Words can't really describe it right now.
As far as the game goes, and you and Chris, when there was a turnover, some shots were going in the first half. The bench really kind of carried the really stitched things together, I guess, until Chris got hot in the third. So what were they doing maybe in the first half, and then obviously what flipped when Chris got off?
I think they were being aggressive and staying consistent. We went up early, we went up big, but they stayed consistent. They stayed with their game plan and kind of really got back into it. But our bench and everybody did a great job of keeping our composure. Man, me and Chris were turning that thing over, weren't we? But yeah, but at the end of the day, Chris carried us. Chris carried us there for a lot of it, just leaving his heart out there. It's kind of like if we're going to go down, we're going to go down in his shoulder. So I'm riding with him, riding right into the finals.
Yes, they are. The Bucks have not been messing around this postseason when they have a chance to clinch. They're now 6-0 with a chance to wrap up a playoff series under Coach Bud. Mike Budenholzer himself, 9-2 in clinch opportunities. That's the second best mark all time, only behind Coach Ty Lue. And the Bucks have not won a title since 1971. This is going to be their first trip to the finals since 74, when Milwaukee fell to the Celtics in 7 games. Of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson in that final. And Robertson was in the final season of his Hall of Fame career. The finals mean so much to these two teams because, get this, I can't believe this stat. No player on either the Bucks or Suns has ever won an NBA championship. So this will mark the first NBA Finals where no players have previous rings since all the way back in 1977 when the Blazers played the Sixers.